Hi everybody, I'm Rich Carrubba for bowlingball.com. We want to learn how to keep bowling score. Wow, I could spend an hour talking about it, but we're going to try to get this done quickly in just a couple of minutes. So, by the way, we also have an article you can read to the same effect. But let me go through this quickly, give you the essentials, help you visualize keeping score. And we think that learning how to keep score and using the same system that's used globally to record a single game of bowling score is very important to you, and it helps you set your strategy when you develop a habit of bowling in competition regularly, like a bowling league, possibly a tournament, some things that you might have interest in at some point in the future. First of all, what does everyone like to get the most? A strike. That's when you knock down all 10 pins on your first delivery of a given frame. We all know that. And a strike earns 10 points plus the sum of your next 2 deliveries. Remember that. Spare, well, you knock down all 10 pins on 2 deliveries in a given frame, and a spare earns 10 points plus the sum of your next 1 delivery. An open frame, well, we don't like that, but it happens to all of us. If you fail to knock down all 10 pins using both deliveries, a maximum allocated score would be 9 pins or fewer per frame. And you have an open frame. An open frame earns only the number of pins you knock down in a given frame for the first 2 deliveries. That's simple. Now, sometimes we hear the term split. All that means is a combination of 2 pins or more left standing that are wider apart than the diameter of the bowling ball. So you have to come up with a pretty creative way to slide one pin into another. A split occurs on the first ball delivery of a given frame, which may or may not be converted as a spare and therefore becomes an open frame if it's not converted. Okay? Just a word on that. Now, the 10th frame, it's a unique frame, but it makes sense with the way we keep score. If you roll a strike on the first delivery of the 10th frame, you receive 2 more deliveries. Yeah. And if you roll a spare on the first 2 deliveries of the 10th frame, same as before, you receive 1 more delivery. And if you leave the 10th frame open after 2 deliveries, the game is completed. No additional deliveries are awarded, and the score for the 10th frame is the total number of pins knocked down in the 10th frame. Simple enough. Follows the same pattern as we discussed. Now, here's some quick scoring bullet points. A strike followed by a spare equals 20 points in a frame. A spare followed by a strike is the same, 20 points in a frame. The maximum score in one frame is 30 points, and it's achieved by 3 consecutive strikes. Okay, now it's time. Let's take an example and walk through a couple of frames of a game that we just make up right here off the top of my head. First, if you knock down 7 pins on your first delivery in frame 1 and only 2 on your second, you have an open frame. 9 pins are recorded in the spare box. Second frame, you get a spare. Hey, good news. Your score's up is 10 points because you make the spare, but you have to await your first delivery of the third frame, don't you? Because a spare is 10 plus the first delivery of your next frame. So you mark a spare flash in the corner box on the second frame, and in the lower left corner of the small box to the right corner of the small box, you can signify the score as a spare for frame 2. Okay? Now, here's frame 3. Your first shot, let's say it's 8 points. Well, with 6 points, let's say, 8 points is an open frame. Now, you get 6 on your first delivery. Well, you had a spare working, so 6 and the 10 that you had is 16 points. And you total that with the running total from the first frame, 9 points, because that was an open frame. So in the second frame box, you signify a running total of 25 points in the second frame. And then, of course, the third frame, you didn't pick up those 4 pins. You only got 2 of them, so you add extra 8 points for the third frame, and it's an open frame. So you have a total of 33 in the third, and you're open going into the fourth. Now let's talk about the 4th and 5th frames. You get 2 strikes. Congratulations. Now you got a double, and you're waiting for that next shot. From the 4th frame, you get 2 more deliveries. So in the 6th frame, you knock down 7 pins. So you had 33 in the third. You got to record a score in the 4th. A strike in the 4th, a strike in the 5th, 7 pins. You add 27 to that 33. 60 pins are put down in the 4th box. Now you got a strike in the 5th frame, still working, and you got a chance to make that spare. Well, let's say you do make that spare. Now you can add 20 more, and you have 80 in the 5th frame with the spare in the 6th. I think what you should do is remember to, when you arrive at the 10th frame, the score is the total number of pins that you knock down. If you get a strike and a spare in the 10th frame is another example, you can add 20 points to the score recorded in the 9th frame, and that will be your final game score. Those are just little tips to remember. But I think what you should do is have some fun and practice keeping score on your own. In fact, take a pencil or a pad and go down, and when you're bowling and you watch the automatic score, record your score, before you look up at it, try to record your own and then compare it. Make sure you can learn how to keep score manually, because in your mind, you'll pick up a system to help you in competition. And by the way, the really good bowlers try to anticipate what they can do if they get fill up all the frames with a spare or strike, or perhaps strike the game out from any point during a game, so they can always know where they stand and how much they have to do to chase their competition, to catch up, or to stay ahead of them, whatever the case might be. So the strategies to keeping score is important. It'll help you enjoy your time on the lanes. And coupled with a little help from a certified USBC coach on your physical game, you just might become a really good bowler and enjoy the game to its fullest. So please read our article too, because I went through this kind of quickly. I hope some of these tips about how to keep bowling score help. And while you're here today too, don't be bashful. Look around our site. You'll find many products and great prices and services with free shipping. And if you find something you want to buy, just follow the simple and easy online order instructions. And remember, our store is always open, and we thank you for visiting bowlingball.com.